Ba 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 ba. Good morning. Hello. I hope everything is good. You might be wondering why you still see Neverlia on the screen when I said last week that I'm totally finishing Neverlia and that's done. And you see she is a full form. She's a whole being. She's got all of her arms and legs, you know, she's complete. You might be wondering, you know, why is she still here? And the answer to that being is I didn't update it. I usually do a lot of the accessories and stuff off stream, as you probably know. But I didn't do that for her yet, and also I forgot to let Heather know that I might be starting a new kit. Speaking of which, I've decided what kit I want to work on next, and I'm very excited. So today, technically, is an Neverlia finishing stream. If we have time, I might even do a little bit of my... okay, I don't think I'm repainting her, but I at least do, like, a little bit of face work and shading on, like, the hair and the face, just to make it look nicer. So I'll probably do that today, because it's not like there's that much left to do for her. It's mostly just making her weapons and things, and her extra little accessories, and figuring out how I want to place all of her little accessories and things like that. And it's a 30-minute sister. That's the beauty of 30-minute sisters, is that she's like a little Lego. Like we can do whatever we want. We can go crazy and figure out like what. Honestly, that's probably one of my favorite parts of doing a 30-minute sister, is I love coming up with her lore, and I think it's especially fun if we get to do that together. Because I just think it's more fun that way. Yeah, this is MS Neverlia. She's a cute little goth girl, and I think in terms of her weapons that she comes with, at least in this kit, yeah, she comes with her little trident. Well, I guess it's not technically a trident. I think it's a bident because there's 2 and not 3, so it is a bident. Which, fun fact, is real. Which I didn't know. That bident is like a real thing. But I do now. Oh, and I take out the little thing. Okay. But yeah, she gets her little bat ears. Man, she is really cute. I do love her like face design. It is very good. Her base design is excellent. And so, yeah. Bit that goes in her skull. I guess that kind of is not a good way of describing it. But, I feel like it's like, especially, because, you know, sometimes model kits involve a bit of like model kit surgerying. Or especially when you like paint them. I remember when I was, well, technically I wasn't really painting her, I was mostly just top coating her. But for my, shoujo Scythe girl, I was top coating her, and I had to, you know, like take all of her pieces apart and put her on the little alligator clip stand for my airbrush. And it looked so insane. I felt like a serial killer. And that's generally how I feel whenever I have to, like, do model kit surgery on my mecha girls. I'm like, I feel like Frankenstein. I feel like Dr. Frankenstein right now. Don't worry, I do know that Frankenstein is a doctor. I read the book. I remember. I don't know why, it just reminded me. So I had to read Frankenstein in my, like, 12th grade AP literature class or whatever. So I had to read Frankenstein, and I distinctly recall in my 12th grade English class, we had a whole debate about whether or not Frankenstein would be able to reproduce. We're not gonna go into detail, but I just remember in my 12th grade English class, My poor English teacher had to sit there and listen to a bunch of 17-year-olds argue amongst each other whether or not Frankenstein's monster can functionally reproduce, like without outside help, basically, without Frankenstein making another one, without Dr. Frankenstein making another one. Yeah, it's one of those things where you ever just have like memories that are buried inside of your head, and just one of them you will be reminded of it. Because usually for me, it's memories that I want to forget, aka times when I've made a fool of myself in front of other people. But sometimes it's just, surprisingly enough, this debate was not one in which I made a fool of myself. It was just like a random memory that I forgot happened, and I just remembered it. That it was something stupid that happened when I was in 12th grade English. Which is, it could be worse. It could certainly be worse. Because, yeah, a lot of the time when I do just get reminded of random memories, when I get assaulted by random memories, it is like, you know, remember that time? Man, I'm trying to scroll through the Rolodex in my brain of every time I've ever made a fool of myself. Which is a lot. There's a lot. You know, there's that time, I have a good friend of mine, I can laugh about it now because they know about this and we are still good friends. But, there's a good friend of mine who I didn't know his name for, I want to say, the first, like, 4 or 5 months of knowing him. I felt really bad about it, but it was the kind of thing, 'cause I think we, like, no, we didn't share a class, that was the problem. For like the first, I just forgot his, because I'm not very good at remembering names. I never really have been good at remembering names. So if we've only ever met briefly, I'm sorry, I don't remember. There's entire people I dated in college whose names I don't recall, you know? It was a blur. I genuinely, like, I just forget. When I said, I mean, I obviously, if I've dated someone for, like, a long period of time, I would remember them, don't worry. But there's people I dated in college for maybe, like, a month or less, and I don't even remember. I was like, I don't know what your name was. I want to say Ben. Or, I want to say Emily? I want to say, oh, I don't remember. I feel bad how few of them I do remember. But yeah, I'm terrible at remembering names. So I met this person and I immediately forgot their name. And I felt very bad about it. But obviously, like, I talked to them quite a bit because we ended up, I remember, we ended up bonding over how bad Darling in the Franxx is. Garbage show, by the way. Terrible. If you've never seen it, I'm jealous of you. But yeah. So it just like didn't come up again, like what their name is. And it got, like, time kept progressing. Like, I had been speaking to this person for like at least a week or two, and I'm like, oh, it's much too late for me to ask what their name, because I realized like a week or two in where I was like, oh shoot, I don't remember your name. But I couldn't say that because we'd already been like talking for at least a week or two, and I was like, okay, it'd be weird if I asked now. So I was like, well, it's fine, someone else will mention it, someone else will mention their name, like, I'll be fine. I was not fine. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I didn't share a class with them, so I didn't see them writing their name on attendance. I didn't see, like, the professor calling their name or anything like that. So I was like, I don't know, man. I just never encountered it. I didn't encounter it until 4 or 5 months into knowing them, when one of our other friends, mentioned, I think we were like, because we were like, we were like friends, like solid friends at this point. Like, we are in fact friends. We hang out somewhat regularly. I was like, It is much too late. Oh, music's kind of loud. Oh, it's because I forgot to turn it down. It's because I 100% forgot to turn it down. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you for letting me know. Good morning. Good morning. I feel a little embarrassed now that I just had the music blasting this whole time. But, yeah. At this point, we, like, are friends, and we've been hanging out. And I'm like, I can't ask now. And it took, like, literally 4 or 5 months in for one of our other friends to mention, like, oh, do you want to invite over, like, do you want to invite him? We're gonna go do something. Do you want to, like, invite him too? And I was like, oh, that's his name! Oh my god! So, I can look back on it now, because I've told him this, and he also thinks it's funny. So, now, which is why I can laugh at it now. Don't worry. I waited at least a couple years into knowing him before I told him that I didn't know his I just didn't know his name for the first 4 months of being friends. First 4, at least it was like at least 4. It genuinely might have been more than 4 months. I think it was anywhere between like 4 and 6 months. It was like several. It was like more than a semester. I do recall this. It was more than a semester. And I didn't know his name. And I felt so bad. But it's okay now because he thinks it's funny. I waited at least 2 years to tell them. I waited at least 2 years until it got to the point where they would also think it's funny. Because I definitely do know it now. But yeah, speaking of embarrassing memories of mine, and every time I would just have to like maneuver around not knowing their name instead of being like, hey, what's up, name? It's like, hey, how's it going? You know, like I would have to be as natural. And he had no idea, by the way. Another accomplishment. He didn't know until I told him 2 years later. He was like, I had no idea. I was like, I guess it makes sense. I guess it does kind of make sense since you never used my name. But also, like, how often do you actually call people by their name? Right? Like, how often do you actually call people by their name? Which is a funky, like, linguistic thing in English, because I kind of think it's funky how a lot of languages function in terms of, like, how people refer to each other. Because, like, in English, your name is, like, a separate entity. Most of the time, you refer to people by, like, their personal pronouns, or just by, like, you. Or you don't even mention it at all. Like, it's, hey, what's up? Or, like, hey, do you want to go do this thing? Like, it tends to be like by personal pronoun. I feel like you rarely actually call people by name. Like, I'm rarely like, hey, what's up, John? The placeholder name. I mean, I do have a friend named John, but like, I mean, it's not, I don't think it counts as doxing many people at their name John. But yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like you don't like greet people or refer to people by name that often, especially like when you're with them. Like, it's one thing when I'm like talking to someone else and I'm like, hey, do you want to invite John to do this thing? It's another thing when when you're talking to someone, I feel like you rarely actually use their name. It doesn't make a lot of sense in like colloquial English. So I could in fact get away for several months of not knowing someone's name. And they did not notice, which I think is a funky thing in English because I've been learning Japanese. I mean, I've been learning Japanese for a little while because I don't know, I can't even pretend that I'm not a weeb. I am. That's part of it. Is I'm tired of waiting for translators on manga I want to read and getting upset when a manga I like is no longer being translated. Because even that, already a lot of the manga that I read, I depend on fan translators because, I mean, I like when there's I do pick up, like, officially English published manga sometimes, but a lot of the manga I read, I find via, like, delving the depths online, because there's a lot of really good manga out there, like, there really is, and only, like, 1% of it gets officially translated, like, There's so much manga out there, and literally only like 1% of it gets officially translated in English. So there's so much manga out there that just never gets translated. But there is like a healthy community of scanlators and fan translators, which is very nice. But you're also at the mercy of literal like volunteer workers. I love fan translators, but they're volunteers. Like, they have lives, and so you're kind of at the mercy of like this fan translator, this fan translation group. They're a bunch of like college kids, and it's their finals week, and they're like, "Sorry guys, I just can't continue this. I have too much going on." Or like, it's happened several times where it's like, "Sorry guys, I just don't have time to continue this," or "I just don't feel like continuing this," and so on and so forth. And you're just like, well, I like, that's it. Well, that's just it for you. If a translator group like drops it, like that's toast, and you can't really do anything because they're literally just volunteers, and so I can't really expect anything. I mean, obviously, not to like disparage it. I think it's really cool that there's people out there that like use their free time to translate manga for other people, which is like insane. Someday I honestly would like to do that. Part of why I think it'd be cool to learn Japanese is that I want to be one of those people that translates manga. Because there's so much out there! There's literally so much out there that's really, really good, but just never gets published in English officially. And you're kind of just, like, stuck. And you kind of just have to, like, die about it. You kind of just have to, like, die about it. Like, there's manga that I love dearly. But either are out of print, like, freaking Trigun is one of my favorite manga of all time. I love Trigun. But Trigun hasn't had an official English release since, like, 2002. And if you want, it's literally impossible to read it, like, legally. Unless you want to go on eBay and spend $60 per volume on the original print. And Viz has been teasing, like, a reprint of Trigun, but they just haven't done it. So basically, like, fan translation is really your only way to read it at this point. Which sucks. I really would love to, like, own it physically and read it officially, but you kind of just can't. Because there's so much good stuff out there that just never gets translated to English. And so yeah, that's definitely part of why I want to learn Japanese, because there's just so much good stuff out there that's like that just doesn't get translated to English ever. And I'm just like, that sucks. That makes me so upset. And I realized this whole detour is to explain why part of why I'm learning Japanese. The other thing is for like work purposes and whatnot. And I just think learning languages is neat. Japanese is not the only language that I'm learning. / the only language I know. But yeah, this is to say, there's like a funky grammatical thing in Japanese where a lot of the time you use people's names as their personal pronoun. It's not that uncommon in Japanese grammar to like refer to like using people's names. I feel like is something that comes up a lot more often in Japanese versus English, because sometimes get out all the really bad subs. Yeah, honestly, that too. There's also just like pretty garbage quality translations. There's a bunch of manga out there that I had to stop reading because the fan translation was garbage. And I'm like, yeah, I could do better. Yeah, actually, I could do better. Even though I don't actually speak Japanese yet. But, so I can actually understand what they're really saying and not the edgy using swear words for no reason BS that happens. Yeah, that's kind of just an issue with localizations, with people taking creative liberties when it comes to localization. It's kind of funny sometimes, but also it's kind of stupid, because I know enough Japanese at this point where I can like kind of skim things and know what's happening. At least if they include furigana. If it's straight kanji, I'm toasted. If it's just straight kanji, I'm toasted. Unless I have my best friend Jisho.com. And even then, it takes me 13 years, because I have to Google every single kanji and figure out what it means. But Yeah. And I'm like, they are not saying that word. They are not saying that word. I guess sometimes it does kind of come across like what the intent is, but sometimes they just throw it in there for fun. And I'm like, you don't need to do that. But anyway, yeah, I think it's kind of fascinating that in colloquial Japanese, it's a lot more common to refer to people by name because a lot of like there's times when you use someone's name as their personal pronoun. Um, and I compare that to other languages I know, like Bengali, where honestly, like I mean, informal Bengali, like textbook Bengali, you do use personal pronouns. It's a lot closer to English in the sense that you don't really use people's names that often, because you use, for the most part, you refer to people via like personal pronoun. But in colloquial Bengali, a lot of the time, that's the first thing that's dropped. In colloquial, like sometimes in Bengali, you sound kind of like stiff. It sounds like you're reading from a textbook if you like say the personal pronoun. I don't know why. I'm afraid to speak Japanese because my pronunciation is garbage, but I'm not afraid to speak Bengali because I've been speaking it my whole life. But yeah, with Bengali, if you're saying like, if you're saying like, I'm going to the store, if you're saying like, I'm drinking water, Ami panikaitase, or I'm eating something, I'm I don't know. I suddenly forgot every language I've ever known, including English. I don't know it anymore. Sorry, guys. I communicate exclusively through mime now. But, yeah. In Bengali, personal pronouns tend to be the first thing you drop. Like, you don't say, it's not, it feels kind of weird. Like, usually you don't say, I'm going to the store, you say, going to the store. Like, instead of saying, like, Ami itakaitasi, you say, itakaitasi. Like, Ami means me in Bengali, that's like the me, I, personal pronoun. And so, that tends to be the first thing you drop. So, like, you just don't use pronouns that often in Bengali anyway, because in colloquial speech, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to. It just tends to be the first thing you drop. I mean, obviously, sometimes you still use it if you want to, like, communicate something very specifically. But for the most part, like, you can understand what's happening even without the personal pronouns, because that's just like, that's it. One of the other things is Japanese too is a very context-based language. Bengali is very context-based. English is not. English, you say things. English, you have to be like, I'm going to the store, bye. Because if you just say going to the store, it feels weirder to just say going to the store in English. Because it's not as clear. Like, it's more normal to say like, oh, I'm going to the store. Because it's just like, I don't know, that's just how sentences are. If you just say going to the store, well, that's missing, like, well, who's going to the store? Are you going to the store? Is my mom going to the store? Like, what's happening? I mean, in English, of course, sometimes you can still infer when someone's, like, going to the store. You can still, like, infer, but it's not quite as normal. I feel like it's a lot more normal to say, oh, I'm going to the store. Or, like, she's gonna go do this thing, or like they're gonna eat some pasta, you know? Like, it makes more sense to do that. Versus like in Bengali, it's a lot more context based, where it's a lot of like it's a lot more like you have to know, you listen to the rest of the sentence to know who the subject is. And Japanese is also like that to an extent, where it's also a very context based language. It's kind of funky. Even though Bengali and Japanese have, like, no, I don't think they share, like, I'm not a linguistics expert, by the way. I am not a linguist. not even a little bit. But I don't think Bengali and Japanese share like root languages. I don't think they do. But they're both languages that are not Latin based. And so I think it's kind of like, I do think it's easier to learn. Like the fact that I already am fluent, yeah. Sounds weird in English to say I'm going to be heading out than heading out. I guess that's different when it comes to like slang, because heading out, I don't know, that's more just like, because I feel like it's normal to say, I'm heading out. You can say heading out. I guess English is also like context based to an extent, but I wouldn't say it's as context based as like Bengali. Because in English, it's normal to say, I'm heading out. See you, I'm heading out. Like, it's a lot more normal to say that. Versus in Bengali, sometimes it sounds weird when you're like, I'm going to the store. It's like, why would you say, why would you do that? Like, why would you do that? It feels more unnecessary in something like Bengali because it's a lot more common to just, like, drop the pronoun. Because a lot of the time, you can infer who is, like, what the subject is just based off the sentence. And Japanese is also like that to an extent, which I think is fun and funky. I feel like it really does, even though, like, it really does help, like, already know, like, in already knowing a non-Latin language. If you've only ever if you only ever have known Latin-based languages, it's incredibly difficult to parse, like, jump directly to, like, a non-Latin based language, like Arabic or Japanese or something, because it's so different. And I feel like it genuinely does help me that I grew up with, like, Bengali and Hindi, which are both non-Latin based languages, because even though they are very different from Japanese, there are still shared concepts between them. Like, the whole idea of formality and honorifics is in Bengali and Hindi. Both of those languages have the concept of honorific, so that's not like a whole extra thing that I now am completely unfamiliar with that I have to learn. I already know what honorifics are, and I know how they work because I use them in Bengali. So it's not as difficult for me to parse. Plus the whole idea of like a more context-based language where it's a lot more normal to just like drop pronouns. I feel like, I don't know, man, I think I'm not a linguistics expert, so I feel like I chose not a good example, but I do still feel like English is less of a context-based language. Like, you do have to specify more often. Or it's more normal to specify versus, like, Bengali, where it's more normal to not specify. At least in, like, colloquial speech. It's another thing if you're, like, speaking formal speech or, like, textbook Bengali, because you do still have those conventions. Like, because that's the other thing. Bengali, kind of like a lot of languages, including Japanese, has different levels of formality. And I believe languages like, not all Latin, but I'm pretty sure Spanish also has like a form. Spanish does. I took high school Spanish for 4 years. Spanish does have formalities, so it's not all Latin-based languages. Spanish does also have like formalities, but it doesn't have, like, honorifics. Bengali does have, like, formalities and honorifics. Like, the way you refer to someone is different based off of, like, how they are. Like, Bengali is primarily age-based, where it's, like, who is being given more respect? Like, are they related to you? Are they older to you? Like, that's kind of what determines what formality you're using in Bengali, is, like, are they related to you? Yes, no? Then you can be more informal. Like, for the most part, with my, like, direct relatives, like, even my mom, like, technically I'm not supposed to do this, but at least when I'm, like, at home, it's normal for me to speak informally to, like, my mom and my grandparents and whatnot. But if it's an older person that I'm not related to or not as familiar with, I absolutely have to be speaking formally to them. Like, I absolutely have to be speaking formally to them. So, it is kind of funky, because Bengali does have also the concept of, like, formality of speech and whatnot. Whoa, her little bat wings! Her little I mean, her parts, her arms keep falling off. I feel like I did something wrong with her arms. I feel like I might also just like, I might also just like shim these little ball joints because they keep falling out. Because I think the issue's with the socket. The socket is very shallow. It's very shallow, and it's very easy for things to just fall out of there. And I'm like, ugh, come on. I'm just trying. So what I might do, yeah, her arm socket is very shallow, so I might just like put something in there on the little ball joint for her arm and just like make it, hopefully see if I can make it a little bit more secure. This I might just glue because this is not a joint thing, it's literally just like a this keeps falling out thing. And it's annoying me, and I've tried everything to try and fix it, but it doesn't work because this keeps falling out, and it's a thing on both of her arms, so I think it is just like a kit design thing. As much as I hate to have any flaws with Miss Neverlia, I do think it's a kit design thing. But yeah. Anyway, that's my... I hope you guys enjoyed my linguistics detour. Also, how the heck... Wait. So her little backpack... I put her little backpack on correctly, but it's like... interferes with her hair. Am I supposed to swap out her hair? I don't think so. It says to like lift up her hair thing, which I did. Lift up her little hair thing. And oh, and I can okay. Her little backpack is on there. I have her little backpack on there, and I can put her head back on. And so I put that down, and then yeah, I basically just like lift her little hair thing, and that's how I accommodate for the wings. That's how and then her arm has fallen off again. Oh, lovely, lovely. Why did she do this? Why is she just like this? Like, it's too many parts that it's like, it's not just like me. I've built these kits before. Like, I don't think it's just me putting it on wrong. Like, it's just like that. So there's definitely some, at least like, upkeep work for her of just like making her more functional. Which I feel bad about, but like, sometimes you do what you gotta do. I'm also a little bit like, I might give her an alternate hairstyle because I want to have her little bat wings! But her hair just looks kind of weird, like with her hair. I kind of can only have her hair back like this so that I can fit her little backpack with the wing. Because I want her little bat wings, but it looks kind of weird, and so I might have to give her an updo so that it makes sense for her to have her little bat wings. I'm pretty sure this also is supposed to be... no. Can't tell, because her hair goes like this, and technically, yeah, these little strands are supposed to be in front of the bat wings. These little strands go in front of the bat wings. Am I just like not getting her? No, I think I'm her head's in there. Her head is in there. Am I like... Could the joint be in there, like, more? Did I do something? The joint, like, supposed to be more in there? I don't think so. I don't think that's supposed to happen. I'm gonna take off her other arm, too, so it doesn't keep freaking bothering me, because I live to suffer. I live to suffer. Because Bandai hates me personally, and doesn't want me to have fun ever. Which is exactly what's happening. That's definitely nothing else. It's Bandai specifically says, I'm not allowed to have fun. I'm not allowed to enjoy my cute little goth girl. I can't do that. Illegal. Banned, I guess. What the heck? I'm just trying. But yeah. Okay, so her hair makes more sense in that regard. Okay. I think her hair's starting to make more sense. I think I still will probably swap her hair out for an updo, because I just think it looks weird. I just think it looks weird like this with the little bat wings. Like, from the front, it's not as bad, but if you have her from the front, it's not that bad, but when you have her at literally any other angle, it looks terrible. And I'm like, I don't... Yeah. But I do have some alternate hair stuff for her. I did prepare some alternate hair stuff. I do have some of the 30-minute... This is not alternate hair, right? No, this part set does not have alternate hair. But I will probably give her... I might give her black hair, honestly. That might make more sense for her. Let me look at what other alternate hair stuff I have. Because I have, like... I do have some. I have a couple of alternate hair things prepared. Oh, I can't move with my headphones, though. Okay, this is going to be a struggle. Can I make it? I made it. Okay, so I've got this hair. It's little pigtails, but this is not... I feel like it's not her vibe. So we're not gonna use it, because I feel like it would look bad on her. I think I might... Do I? Oh, I might have used the other one. I think I had another alternate hair thing, but I used it on one of my other girls. Man! Okay. Shoot, I dropped my Evangelion Nendo. Well, they're still in the box. I haven't opened them yet, because I just got them in the mail. I got the little, in honor, because it's Pride Month. Because it's Pride Month, that's definitely how I justified it to myself, but also, Good Smile were the ones that re-released them during Pride Month, okay? So it's not entirely my fault. There's these Evangelion Nendoroids of Shinji and Kaworu, where it's, I think, just like their school uniform outfits, just like their really basic outfits. But they're meant to be a matching set because they have like they each come with a little platform that you're meant to put together. To make the complete platform, you have to have both of them and put them together. And they have a little, like, the little shared headphone thing. It's so cute. They're so cute. Oh, I realized her hair is significantly harder now because she has I forgot that she has to have arms. Yeah, I probably will get her an alternate hairstyle. I probably will get her an alternate hairstyle. I like her white hair, but honestly, I might go for black hair. I feel like it'll suit her more. Actually, I should just take off her head now because I do plan on, like, giving her a bit of a makeover. I do plan on giving her, like, a little bit of a makeover. At least for, like, her shading. Like, basically, I do their makeup a little bit. I just do their makeup a little bit, and it just makes the depth of the face look that much better. And it's kind of fun because I do it with actual makeup. It's kind of fun because I do it with actual makeup, and then I just, like, top coat it. So it's, like, sealed. And it looks really cute, and it usually- I could give her, like, little eyeshadow? Oh my god, I might be going crazy. I might be going crazy on her. Because for the other girls that I do this on, I kind of just keep it pretty natural. Because they just don't really have- they're supposed to, like, not really look like they're wearing makeup, but she's a goth girl! So I can give her black eyeshadow if I want to! Which I probably 100% will. I'm so excited, actually. I'm very excited. But I didn't prepare any of it, so I'd have to go over there and dig through my makeup. But it's kind of fun because I see like I like watching videos of people doing like custom work, of people doing like custom stuff. And so it's like I see people that do custom work on Mecha Musume, and they buy like makeup for your little mecha girls, which I think is really cute, but it's pretty fun and funky for me because I already have makeup. I already own quite a bit of makeup, and so I don't really need to buy anymore. I just use the stuff that I have. So it's kind of funny to look at these like model kit customization guys and pull out their little eyeshadow palettes that be like, yeah, I bought this specifically for my custom stuff, for my little mecha girls. Like, that's really cute. And so, and also like, just for like adding shading in general, makeup is actually pretty solid. Because it's just like a nice little loose pigment to work with. and you just brush it on there, and then you just, it's easy to blend for the most part. It's like obviously not optimized for plastic. You'll probably have a better time if you use like, because I know some people use what's it? Some people use pastel, like chalk powder, like pastel chalk powder, which is very possible, and I probably comes out better because it's more optimized for like plastic to be brushed onto plastic. But makeup is 1, cheaper, 2, something I already have, and 3, like it's not that much harder. It's not like that much harder. Her little her little tail. It's time for her little. I want to keep her tail long. I don't want to cut it. I think it's really cute. I think her little tail's super cute. Oh my god. I love her little devil tail. Oh my god. Oh well, there goes her arms again. I really have to do something about her arms. But her little devil tail, oh my god, she's so cute. It's so cute. Okay, okay. I'm looking forward to like her coming together. I'm looking forward to her like coming together. I might, okay. I kind of have the world at my fingertips because I do also like, I have access to a resin printer. I have access to a resin printer, so I could go kind of crazy. I could do custom stuff for her. I know. Oh, I originally wasn't gonna do custom stuff for her. Okay, I'm still brainstorming. I'm still deciding if I want to do customs. I said I wasn't going to because I do like her base design a lot. But now I'm like, okay, the ideas are cooking. The ideas are cooking. She's just, she's so cute. She's so cute. Her little scythe. Her little scythe is so fun. Well, not scythe. Oh, it is a trident. It is a trident. See, there's 3, which means it's a trident. I don't know why I thought it was a bident. Which is real. Fun fact, by the way. Bidents are real. But yeah. Little trident. But, I mean, I'm building her trident now just because I want to, but I bought alternate weapons. I have alternate weapons that we will be working on shortly. I have alternate weapons that we will be working on shortly. So that, yeah, that I think are cooler than her little trident because I have a scythe. I have an alternate scythe weapon that I think will be really cool. I do still like her little trident, so I'm gonna build it anyway just so we can like build it out and see what it looks like and have it. But most likely I will be using her. I will be making her a scythe because it just I feel like makes more sense for her to have. Like, come on, it's a scythe. Why? Obviously, she would have a scythe. I love that she's got the little peace sign hand. I really do. We're gonna zoom in so you can actually see what I'm doing. I love that she has little peace sign hands. That makes me so happy. Yeah, I love her so much. I love her so much. I should give her the little holding hands. I should give her her little holding hand. I forgot. How do I? The hand of holding. It's like a separate thing. So it's this one. I cut this out. And I cut out her little hand of holding. So that she can hold her little trident. I will pose her with the trident like one time. Just for just to look at it and just be like, oh, It is cute. It is cool. He's really cool. Ah! I dropped it. We're good. We're good though. But she's so cute. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I love her so much. I'm also excited because I have other okay. The kit that we're doing after this is, I've already decided, it's going to be MG God Gundam. It's going to be MG God Gundam because it's one I've had in the wings for like a while. It's one that I've had in the wings for a while. And I think it's cool and funky. That's our next big build is MG God Gundam. But I do have more 30-minute sisters in the wings. I do have more 30-minute sisters in the wings. Did I use the wrong hand? I totally used the wrong hand. Well, that's fine. That's fine. I totally clipped so that she has right hands instead of a left one and a right one. Which happens to me an embarrassing amount of times. Is See, that's another random embarrassing thing about me, is that I very often confuse my lefts and my rights. I very often confuse my lefts and my rights. I am a person that still has to pull out the little L trick. Because the other thing is, when I was a little baby, okay, and I was learning my lefts and my rights, important context is that I learned English and Bengali at the same time when I was a little kid. I learned English and Bengali at the same time. So I kind of consider both of them my first language. It's funky. It's kind of my language journey as a child was kind of fascinating because so all of my family speaks Bengali, obviously, but they also all like can speak English. Like obviously my family members can speak English. They live in the state. They have been living in the States for a while at that point by the time I was born. And so yeah. But when I was a little kid at one point, when I was like 1 or 2 years old, we lived in back in Bangladesh for like a year. So between the ages of like 1 and 2, I was living in Bangladesh. And obviously there, people really only speak Bengali. And so when I was like 1 or 2 years old, by the time we got back to the States, my family realized I forgot how to speak English. They're like, oh no, my child. No, I was like 2 or 3. Yeah, I was like 3 years old. And my mom was like, oh no, my child doesn't know how to speak English anymore. And I start preschool the next year. And I was born in the States, so it's not like I have to go through any like language thing or anything like that. I just show up to preschool in kindergarten because theoretically I know English already. And my mom's like, oh no, my baby doesn't know English anymore. And so but there are still like my grandparents are, while they are fluent in English, they're more comfortable in Bengali. They're a lot more comfortable in Bengali. And so versus like my mom, who did do part of her schooling in the States. Like she went to college in the States, at least partially went to college in the States. Like I have some family members that went to school in the United States. So they're a lot more comfortable in English because they moved here a lot younger. And so basically what we decided was that my grandparents spoke to me in Bengali like normal, but my mom would only start speaking to me in English because she's like, my kid needs to know English. My kid's gotta know English before going to school in America. And so yeah. But there's a good chunk of my education that was entrusted to my grandfather, who, to his credit, like he's the reason why I still write in cursive. If you look at my handwriting at any point in time, I'll show a little bit. Like my regular handwriting is cursive. My regular handwriting is cursive. It always has been. because the person who primarily taught me how to write was my grandfather. And also something that I've discovered is that so my grandfather was raised in British India. When he went to elementary school and he did all of his formative learning in British India. So and also like a lot of even to this day in South Asia, a lot of the school, like the entire school system, are English medium schools. So it's on the British school system. So to this day, even though obviously it's no longer British India, the British schooling system still remains in Bangladesh for the most part. Most kids do still go to English medium school, so they learn on the British system. And so obviously my grandfather, who grew up in British India, uses the British conventions for most things. So he taught me the British conventions, the British spelling and the British conventions for a lot of words. So there's a lot of, like, it truly does feel like a jump scare sometimes when I'm just living and I'm like writing a word and I get a little red squiggly. Or there's several times, I don't remember what the most recent one was. I think there was one very recently that I learned I was spelling it the British way, and I had no idea that was like a British spelling thing. Like, it's happened, even to this day, there are some words where I'm like, I find out, someone's honking their horn out there. There are some words that I realize I've been spelling the British way. But there's some that I do stand by it. I write gray with the E. There's some that I don't, though. I don't write color with the U because I think it's stupid. And also, I went to American elementary school and they taught me color with an O. Just an O and no U. Like, there are still some things that I choose that I learned as the American spelling. But there's a bunch of words out there that I still write in British spelling to this day. Like gray, I learned when a few years back that you know how most Americans spell gray with an A. Yeah, gray with an E is British spelling. I learned gray with No, gray with an E is the British spelling. That's the one that I learned. Is I spell gray with an E because it makes more sense. Gray with an A is the American spelling. The other thing is I say aluminum, I spell it aluminium. I spell it aluminium. I say aluminum because I speak American English, but I spell it aluminium. Because that's how I was taught. And I had no idea. I didn't even realize that I did it that way. I just assumed that's how you're supposed to do it, because that's what I was taught since I was a little kid. The aluminium one is one that I realized not that long ago, where I realized I spell it aluminium. Even though I say aluminum, I do still think it's kind of, I mean, because it's kind of odd, like, I had to train myself to say aluminum. Because I used to say it, like, again, even my family members that do speak English mostly speak British English, like they have American accents, but they mostly learn British English. So people like my grandfather say aluminium. Looks more gray than gray. Yeah. To me, gray with an A just looks wrong. It just is like, it doesn't look right. It looks incorrect. I'm like, you're not supposed to spell it that way. It just feels wrong to me. Gray is gray. Well, wow, I'm being so eloquent right now. Gray with an E is just what it is and what it makes sense as. Gray with an E is just what it makes sense as. Also, okay. Look at her! Oh my god, she's so cute. We're gonna zoom out. Look at her with her little trident and her little bat wings, and she's like, hey. She's like, hey. Like, hey, what's up? Okay. I think now might be the time where we come up with a narrative for her. Like, what's her deal? What's her story? What's going on with her? And so I'm like, okay, is that all of her? I think that's all of her weapon stuff. I've built all of her weapon stuff. There's some other, like, random odds and ends still in her runners. Well, I'm gonna keep the hand runner because of her hands. gonna keep that runner. But that one is oh, this is armor stuff. I'll keep that because that's her armor stuff. Oh, that's for if I want to connect other. I know now. That's if I want to connect other stuff to her. I'm afraid to read that. I feel like it's bait. Okay. I might be. I think I say it the American way. I say in my brain. I say GIF. In my brain, I say GIF. Okay, I'll admit it. I say GIF in my brain, but I know it's like. Listen, I say GIF because it stands for graphics interface something. I don't fully remember what GIF stands for, but it's I know the G stands for graphic, and so I'm like, so it's GIF because the G stands for graphic. But I don't know. I'm like, which one's is there like a British? Is that like a British pronunciation thing? Or is that I think that's an American pronunciation thing. I think more Americans say GIF is what my gut instinct tells me. That more Americans say RG GIF. Even though I might just be completely making that up. I might just be like entirely making that up. I have no idea. I actually really like that they have these little detachable units. They have little cut points. They sectioned off the runners into like B3, B4, and so you can just like snip the part that matters to you. Because that runner, there's only like those two. Instead of having to like keep that whole runner, and also like they make little cut points, so I can choose. That's a whole little piece. I'm just gonna. I feel like that's a piece that I forgot to put somewhere. I feel like this piece that's still left on the A runner. Piece I was supposed to put somewhere that I didn't. Well, we're gonna cut it out now and we'll figure out what to do with it at a later time. Because she seems fine to me. Because she seems fine. I love that they include section. It makes my life so much easier. Because I've done something like that with runners anyway, if I just snip out the parts that are relevant to me, instead of just keeping the whole runner if there's leftover. But it doesn't, but I like that they do that now. They do that, if that makes sense, like they do that now. Which is nice. Nice. I think there's like another little thing I'm supposed to got, oh, wait. I think, oh, wait. Go in here. There's something on her legs that I was supposed to... Yeah, E5. There we go. Her little things. Oh, that's her little... If I don't want to put in her tail. That's if I want to put something else that's not her... Okay, so that part is for if I want to put something that's not her little tail. But obviously, I'm putting her tail. Because it's so cute. So, obviously she's got like a little demon thing going on. I think she's really cute. I think she's got like a little demon thing going on, which looks cool. Just a cute little devil girl. And I'm gonna give her a scythe. Her weapon of choice will be a scythe. So I want to go like a death theme for her in terms of like she is, you know, if that makes sense. I think I'm stupid because I was putting it upside down. But I like the idea of going with like kind of like a death-esque thing for her. Because I'm going to give her alternate weapons that are... She's so cute. East side, and she's holding her little trident, and oh my god, she's so cute. I'm gonna take off her head for now because I'm going to be changing. I'm going to be giving her a little makeover soon. So now that we've gotten her little posing done with, I do want to build her alternate parts just to see what they look like. Or no, I think I'll wait to do her little makeover stuff. Here's my alternate parts for her. Technically they're for a different 30-minute sister, so the skin tone is different, so I can't use all of them, but I can use what matters, which is the scythe, which is what matters to me. She's also got these funky little wings too, which I do like. But I do like her little bat wings. Her little bat wings are so cute. I don't want to get rid of her bat wings, actually. Okay, okay. Sorry for I'm just gonna use scissors. I'm just gonna use scissors. 'Cause I'm lazy. We're just gonna use scissors. Boom. Easy peasy. Okay. We're gonna put Miss Neveralia's parts over here. We're gonna put them in the box over there. Along with the little extra runners that I have left for her. And we're gonna build her cool funky web. Oh my god, wait, there's an alternate tail? Oh, wait. Alternate tail. This looks so cool. This looks so cool. The little devil tail is cute though, but this is like a chunky tail, which I think gives her is a little bit, I want to say lizard-esque, which I like the flavor of. I know she's got little bat wings, so it doesn't make a lot of, yeah, Trident, Scythe, halberd sort of thing. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but you know, I like reptile flavor. I like reptile flavor. I like reptiles. I like reptiles in general. I think reptiles are cool and funky and fun. And I like when things are kind of reptile flavored. I think they're cool. Oh, so these are also like alternate. So I can use her for like this alternate leg kits. I can use alternate. I could also use some of my Gundam parts too, honestly. I could also use Gundam parts. I'm not entirely sure. But what I want to do. I'm sure like how this works. It's more just like I'm still figuring out what I want to do with this. Okay, okay. But either way, it's time to put this. I'm just gonna put everything from here together and we'll see what I want to do with it. Because that's the beauty of 30-Minute Sisters. I'm also going to drink some water because I'm thirsty. And I don't think there's a hydration redeem anymore. There is no longer a hydration redeem. So man, it's up to me to remember to drink water because there's no longer a hydration redeem. So I'm on my own in terms of remembering to drink water. I guess in which case I will just die. I'm kidding. I'm not actually gonna die. I do drink water. I'm actually very strict about, not strict about it, but I do in fact drink a lot of water. Because luckily, I guess luckily for me, I don't like soda. I don't like coffee. So really one of the only beverages left for me is water. One of the only beverages left for me is water. I do drink a lot of water, don't worry. But I like how this is sectioned. Fun. This is funky. Also, all of our little like pieces are so wait. I'm trying to see if I can get, because this piece has like a spine texture to it, and I'm trying to see if I can get that across. If I can get that across. You can kind of see it. But like, I think the spine texture on this piece looks so sick. It reminds me a little bit of, if you ever played Fire Emblem Three Houses, it reminds me of Violet's weapon, the like whip sword, which is pretty cool. I like Violet's weapon. Funky whip sword. I also like playing it in Smash Brothers Ultimate because it's a whip sword and it's cool. Because it's cool! Okay. Is there something that I'm not forgetting anything? It was only like these runners. So I need A1, there's A2, but I feel like something. This is all of it. I'm not like. Oh no, it's. Oh no, wait. I think I just read it wrong. I think I did just read it wrong. Because those two pieces are here. I don't know why I got all tripped up over like because they do the thing where it's like that denotes the runner subsection, and that confused the hell out of me because I'm like, where's the piece? But I was just looking in the wrong section. For some reason it's the labeling convention still hasn't quite like I still haven't quite gotten used to this labeling convention because it's labeled differently. It's labeled like they label the subsection, and I'm like, okay. But then I look in the subsection and it's not there, and I'm like, oh, what the heck, where is it? But then it's still on the same runner. I'm just looking at the wrong subsection. You know, because it happens to the best of us. I'm like, why would they label this as subsection 2? This is not subsection 2. Unless I'm reading it wrong, which is very possible. I could also just be reading it wrong. Even though this is... Oh man, I think I don't know what I'm on. Sometimes I'm like, I'm always right. I'm always right, obviously. Obviously, I'm the one who's correct. Sometimes I'm like, am I? Am I? But that's fine. So I'm just gonna put this, but at the end of the day, at least I found the piece. Even though it's labeled as subsection A1-2, even though this is subsection 2 and this is subsection 1, and they're not in subsection 2, and I thought something was wrong because it's not in subsection 2, even though they're labeled as subsection 2. Stupid choice. Stupid choice, actually. Terrible. How could they do this to me? So I didn't really have this issue with Neverlia. I do still like the subsection thing. I just think it's a little stupid when you have 3 runners total. Because when this is an accessory set with 3 runners total, the whole subsection runners thing is a little stupid and makes my life confusing. Because now I'm like, what do you mean? And also, I think that is mislabeled because it's labeled as subsection 2. Unless I'm reading it wrong and it's not labeled as subsection 2. And then what if it is? But then what if it's not? And then I just die. I'm just gonna die. I think that is the natural action right now. I think that is, like, what else? What other choice do I have? Bandai is forcing me into this corner in which I have no other option but to perish. Because this is hard. Because they're making it hard. They're making my model kits difficult. How could they? But anyhow. Let's see. What have I been doing? What have I been doing this week? What have I been doing? I don't... Okay. I don't think I'll... You know what? This is my house. I can subject you guys to whatever I want. I finished Bridgerton this week because it took me a while because I was watching it pretty slowly because I've been watching it with friends. Truly, I don't think I could watch that show alone. I could not survive watching that show alone. So I watched it with friends, and so we had to like figure out when we're all free to watch Bridgerton together. And so I just finished Bridgerton this week. Or at least season 3. I just finished season 3 this week. Okay, I can't say it's my least favorite season because season 1 had a plot convention that was very bad. It literally, I was like, this sucks. Daphne, the main character, is a terrible person. And I hate the ending of season 1. What's Bridgerton? I wish that were me. I wish that were me. Bridgerton is a show on Netflix. It's a show on Netflix. It's basically like just a regular soap. Like it's basically just like a regular kind of like a trashy drama, but like with Regency colored paint on there, because it takes place in like Regency era England. So it's about like nobility, and they all wear Empire waist dresses like Jane Austen. Except ignore the historical accuracy of any of their costumes because none of it makes sense ever. But this is Bridgerton. I'm not knocking it for the historical inaccuracy because Bridgerton is not a show that set itself out pretending to be historically accurate. So I'm not gonna knock them for the costumes. I think the costuming is actually kind of fun because they focus more on like character-based costuming, which I like when things do that. Is that the costuming is very important to the character, and it very much like tells you a lot about the character based off what they wear, which I think is fun and funky. But otherwise, Bridgerton is a show. I would never recommend it to anyone. It's a show. It's Bridgerton. But I have watched 3. I keep coming back. I can't say anything because I keep coming back. I've now caught up on season 3. I keep coming back. Season 1, I still will say season 1 was the worst one. Mostly because the ending of season 1 was just that bad. The ending of season 1 was terrible. And I hated Daphne, the main character of season 1, sucked. Her love interest was better. Her love interest was a significantly more interesting and better character than she was. Which says something, right? Usually, I'm a woman enjoyer. I'm a woman liker. I usually tend to like the female characters more because I just connect to them more. I like them more. I hated Daphne. I hated Daphne. She sucked. She's a terrible character, even though she was the main character of that season. And Daphne just was a terrible person. Which is why season 1 is still the worst. Season 2 is my favorite. Season 2 is... I still can't say it's good, but it was more fun. And also, the actress who played... The character was Kate Sharma. I feel bad because I forgot the actress's name, but she's a very... Ashley Simone, that's who it is. Ashley Simone. Ashley Simone played Kate Sharma, and she's ethereal. She's beautiful. She's like, I would do anything for her. So I'm like, okay. Okay. But I watched season 3. Season 3 is about... so the basic premise... I probably should have said this on the offset. The basic premise of Bridgerton is that there's this noble family. They're called the Bridgertons. And there's so many siblings. There's, I want to say 8 of them. There's 8 Bridgerton siblings. And for whatever reason, their parents decided to name them alphabetically. So the firstborn is Anthony, the second one is Benedict, the third one is, is Colin, and the fourth one is Daphne. They're, for whatever reason, named their children in alphabetical order. Which honestly does kind of help keep track of who's older than who. Like, I forget sometimes that Colin is older than Daphne, but I only remember that because Colin comes before Daphne alphabetically. But, yeah. And the whole plot of Bridgerton is we just follow the Bridgerton family as the children all, like, have lives, basically. Like, basically it's about each Bridgerton child falling in love. Each season follows a different Bridgerton child and their, like, epic romance or whatever. And following, like, how they have a relationship and get married. First season was Daphne, second season was Anthony, and now the third season is about Colin Bridgerton. Even though he's not really the main character of his season, technically, the main character is more Penelope, who's his love interest, who's a side character that's existed since season 1. She's like from the Featherington family. Again, these names. it's sure, they're choices. But I can't even complain that much. Like, this is not what I didn't come into the Bridgerton for quality, for, like, quality historical television. But yeah. The main character is more Penelope, which I'm happy about because I really like Penelope. I've liked her since season 1. She's a really cool character. She's played by I learned recently that I've been pronouncing her name wrong, and I probably am still pronouncing her name wrong. I want to say Kuglet. No, that's incorrect. Coughlin. It's not Coughlin. It's Nicola Coughlin. I'm butchering her name. She's Irish. I'm so butchering her name, and I feel so bad. That's kind of a rather plain premise to greenlit on Netflix. Okay, the reason why it got greenlit on Netflix is, one, it's Regency themed, so the whole historical aspect is like part of it. Even though I ignore it completely, and I say it's stupid because it is. Love story anthology would be better. Yeah, it's a love story anthology, is the basic plot of Bridgerton. But they are based... The other thing is that the Bridgerton TV show is based off of books, which are successful, which is probably why it got greenlit by Netflix, because the books are, like, fairly successful. So they did greenlight Bridgerton, the TV show. But... Wait. Is this... Wait. It says 7. This is 7. Oh, okay. Wait, this is still OP. Yeah, it's still this one. 7. 7. What is 7 in here? That is not same. Oh, I've realized the error of my ways. I've realized the error of my ways. But anyway, Bridgerton season 3 is about Penelope, who's a side character. She's played by Nicola Coughlin, who is beautiful and gorgeous and amazing. And I love her, and she's really good at playing Penelope. I think Penelope is a really interesting character because, you know, she just... I don't feel like recapping Bridgerton right now. I don't think people care anyway. I don't think it matters. Because the actual plot of Bridgerton is kind of irrelevant to whatever is happening. The actual plot of Bridgerton is kind of irrelevant. But anyway... This season was Penelope season because she, fun fact, that as was established in season 1, Penelope has a huge crush on Colin. She's had a big crush on Colin this whole time. And now is finally, and he's kind of just been like, I hate the term friend zone, but that's basically what happens, where he's like, no, we're just friends. You're Penelope. You're my best friend. And Penelope's like, okay, yeah. But she's had a crush on him for many years. And this is them falling in love, which would be fine and dandy if Colin didn't suck. If Colin didn't suck. I'm like, Penelope, girl, stand up. You can do better. You can do better than Colin. She can do so much better than Colin because he sucks as a character. So boring. Sucks. He's got this whole thing. One of his main plot points is that he's just like mean to her because he's jealous of her. Because so Colin's whole character thing is that again, terrible character thing is that he doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. So because of that, there's like not really anything to center his character on. At least like in the season 2, part of why I like season 2 is because the characters just feel way more centered. Like Anthony, the main character season 2, has like a whole thing where he's the oldest and thus he's taking over, he's an adult, so he's taking over his family. And he has this whole, like, and it's not that he doesn't want to, but he's, like, under a lot of pressure. And so he's, like, very kind of uptight, he's anxious, he's got his whole thing going on. And so he has, like, a central character trait, is he is to be the next Lord Bridgerton. And he's got to deal with all the stuff, surround all the responsibility and all the pressure of being the next Lord Bridgerton. And that's, like, what he's got going on, which is, like, a defined character. I can understand him as a character, and I know who he is, and that makes him compelling to watch. Even though he is kind of not a good person a lot too. but that's irrelevant to what's happening right now. Colin's entire story is that he doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. Colin doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. And they decide in season 3, again, he's been one of, like, a main recurring character for 2 seasons. Because he's the sibling of one of the main character. He's been around. Like, he's been in the show for 2 seasons at this point. And you just know barely anything about him besides the fact that he doesn't know what he wants to do with his life, and he travels. Instead of figuring out what he wants to do with his life, he's just like, I'm gonna go traveling. And that's his main character trait, is that he's like, I don't know what's going on, and so I'm just gonna go to Italy. Bye. And that's all he does. And now suddenly he's a main character, and he just was not ever set up to be a main character. So he's a terrible main character, because there's nothing going on with him. And they decide in season 3 that they're like, okay, Colin's the main character, so we have to do something with him now. So we're gonna say Colin has actually always wanted to be he wants to be a writer. He's really good. He writes stuff about his travels, and he's gonna want to be a writer. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, I guess. You want to make him a writer? He could be a writer. Okay, he could go be a writer. But I feel like where it messes up. So Penelope at this point, another thing that I forgot to mention is that a main, like, plot vehicle is the existence of Lady Whistledown, which is literally just Gossip Girl. This is just Regency Gossip Girl. That is basically what the show is. It's just Gossip Girl. Let's just reskinned Gossip Girl. And except we know who Lady Whistledown is at the beginning. Like, that's not like which again is part of what made Gossip Girl a better show, is that the viewer didn't know who Gossip Girl is. But even like we find out in season 1 who Gossip Girl is in Bridgerton, and it's Penelope Featherington, by the way. I'm sorry to spoil this for you. If you ever wanted to watch Bridgerton, I'm sorry you got spoiled on something that you find out by like episode 2. That Penelope Featherington is is fucking Gossip Girl. Oh, I realized I'm not is Gossip Girl. That Lady Whistledown is Gossip Girl. And that's happening. This is cool. I like putting these things together. Wait, this is cool. This does feel like a cool, like, I like the sectioning. I think, oops. I like the sectioning on this. I think this is cool. Kind of neat. But, and I get to use a little spine tip thing. That's so cool. That's so cool. But, once I get this out, I'll show you so it makes, you can see the cool spine-esque detailing. But, anyway, Penelope's Gossip Girl, and everyone loves Gossip Girl. Everyone's like, oh my god, we all love Lady Whistledown. Well, they don't love Lady Whistledown because she kind of ruins people's lives sometimes. But everyone still reads her stuff nonetheless. Everyone is fascinated by her, and like, her work is insanely popular. She basically has like an indie newspaper. She like puts out her own little newspaper, and people buy it every week because they're like, oh my god, I have to see what Lady Whistledown is writing. And so basically she's an extremely successful writer, because part of why people like Lady Whistledown is that it's very well written, because Penelope is a very good writer. And so it's like, because that's it, which is, I like that's relevant, which is not, I like in the original, in like, it's not at all related, like actually related to Gossip Girl, but the plot device is the same. In like the original Gossip Girl, like the reason why everyone is obsessed with Gossip Girl is not really that discussed. It's more just like implied, like these are all like prissy socialites that care about gossip, so that's why Gossip Girl matters so much. But in Bridgerton, I do like that they explain like what makes Lady Whistledown so like important and why people like her. That's because Penelope's a good writer. Someone else tries to pretend to be Lady Whistledown and fails horribly. because they're not a good writer, which I think is cool and funky. But wait, this isn't a tail, it's like a mace. Wait a second. I realized this is supposed to go in her little hand, and this is like a little mace that never mind. This is sick. This is so cool. This is really cool, and I can just like, ooh. Wait, she gets to have a whip sword. She has a little whip sword. Well, it's like a mace. It's not really a sword. It's a mace, but she has like a little. This is a sick weapon. This is a cool weapon. What the heck? This is so cool. Oh, wait. Or I can convert it. What if I lose my mind? I can make this a sword, or it can be a tail. Oh my god, this is so cool. This is so... Okay, I take everything back. About this kit. Which I don't remember if I've criticized this kit, but if I have, I take it all back. If I've criticized this kit, I take it all back. This makes it all worth it. This is so cool. You have the little like whip segmented mace that can also be a tail. I am losing my mind. But yeah. Anyway, Penelope's a highly successful writer, and Colin hates Lady Whistledown for kind of justified reasons, but also like he's never like cared about Gossip Girl. Like he's never cared about her newspaper. But there are times when people in his life were slandered by Lady Whistledown, including his own sister, who was like slandered by Lady Whistledown. And so he's got beef with her. He doesn't know. See, I hope now you're kind of gauging what the main conflict of this season is that Colin and Penelope are falling in love, except Penelope is Lady Whistledown and Colin hates Lady Whistledown because she was really mean to his friends and family. And so that's like a whole thing. But Colin is like Colin's hatred of Lady Whistledown this season is like honestly kind of irrational, because the other times, because again, he's been in the past 2 seasons, whenever Lady Whistledown did something to like someone in his life, Lady Whistledown like wrote something kind of mean about people in his life, he was like, oh man, that sucks, what the heck. But in this season, he like violently hates her, and I'm like, where did that come from? And so it just reads as like he's just kind of jealous, and especially when obviously the reveal happens that it's like, oh my god, Colin finds out Penelope is Lady Whistledown. I can't believe this. This goes in. Or no, it doesn't. Something else is supposed to happen. Oh no, this is supposed to go in here. I've determined now how this works, and I attach the tail. I want the little pointy. I want I want this in here. Can I not do that, or can I? Or is there something else that I have to attach? Oh, it doesn't look like it. So I have that, and then I take this. Okay, I take this. And I have this, and I put in the little extra piece so that it supports it. But I want to put the little pointy tail. Oh, there is a separate thing I'm supposed to do. Never mind. It's a different... Oh, I don't get the pointy tail. I don't get the spine tail. I get the other one, which is this one. I get the other one, which is this one. The spine thing, which, okay, fair. But I really like the spine detailing, the pointy one. That's apparently only if you're gonna use it in mace mode. But I do like that it's bigger and it looks cooler. Wait, this looks really cool. Wait a second. This looks really... Ooh. Wait. Wait a second. This looks really cool. And she's got this whole little thing. Her tail is... It's not as prehensile as I would like it to be. But the sections are pretty chunky, so I can't complain that much. And then there... I do that again. Can I do that again? So that I can connect... Oh my god. This tail... We're gonna put on the other tail and see what it looks like. And see if I like it more than her little devil tail. Because I do like her little devil tail, but I do think that this tail looks really cool. I do think that this one just looks really cool. That goes inside so that I can... So we take out devil tail. Wait, exactly! That's what I'm saying! The tail can turn into a sword. The tail turns into a sword. Wait a second! Wait a second! Wait a second. This tail is really sick. This tail is really sick, actually. Ooh, now I'm like really torn. I do think that this tail is really cool. Like, oh, wait. If I can get it in there without breaking it, that would be excellent. If I can get this in here without breaking it, that would be excellent. Please. There we go. But like, wait, wait a second. Wait a second. Looks so cool. This tail, it's fine. Rest in peace her arm. But like, oh, wait, this tail looks cool. The segments are a little bit like chunkier, so it's kind of harder to position because like bigger, chunkier sections. But like, wait a second. Looks so cool. I think it might have been relevant which side I put on which. I think this might have mattered. Okay. Unless it didn't. No, it does. It does. Yeah, see, that's more secure. I was just a little stupid. But like, and the tail turns into a sword. I can like, wait a second, because what I can do is do this, okay? Oh wait, what I can do is do this, where I take off this piece, and I attach, and I take off this piece, and I attach this piece, and now her tail is a sword! Now her tail is a sword! Well, it's more like a mace, but still. You see what I mean? This is insane. Wait, I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. I think this is so cool. I think this is really cool. And now I can put it back. And now it's back to being a tail for her. Yeah, actually, I know I love her little devil tail. I take everything back. The sword tail goes crazy. The sword tail goes insane. That's so cool that her tail can turn into a sword. I take everything back. Tail wings transformed into a hilt. I know, that would have been really cool. That would... I wonder if I can, actually. Wait. Never mind. It can be. This is free country. The wings are now now a hilt. The wings are now a hilt. We're cooking. We're cooking. We're living. Look at this. Look at this. The wings are now a hilt. This is insane, actually. I'm going crazy. Look at that. Look at that. Because, yeah, the wings can be a hilt. Because I decided it. I decided it so. And now the wings get to be a hilt. And she's got a cool tail sword. a cool sword that's also a tail. And you just take off this part and you put this part back and now it's a tail again. That's insane. This is so cool. This is so cool. Oh yeah, I should build her little scythe. Like, the tail sword actually like goes insane. The tail sword goes insane. Okay, but now, okay, but her Reaper armor, okay. She has scissors? She gets little scissors? Wait, we'll put them together and we'll see what it's like. We'll put them together and we'll see what it's like. 14? Because I'm like a little bit confused on how this thing comes together. Because it might also be part of her scythe. It might also be part of her scythe. Scythe. But I suppose we shall find out once it's put together. I could read the instructions, but I could also just put it together and see what happens. I think it's more fun that way, rather than just trying to decipher instruction. The other thing? Okay. I got so distracted by, like, tail sword. Tail sword is so cool, okay? It deserves to be a distraction. Tail sword is... I'm glad I'm doing this on stream, because usually I don't do accessories on stream, and I was fully actually planning on doing all of this off stream. But I'm kind of glad that we got to have this discovery together. Because it's so much fun this way. It is so much fun this way. It goes this way. It is like little scissors. It is like little scissors, see? It's got little scissors. I can like... Oh wait, I'm supposed to put this like... There's like a little thing here that I'm supposed to do something about. So that goes in here. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Unless it does. Because there's like a little thing that stops it from going too far. Might just be doing... Okay, so here's... Wait. Oh, okay, so I'm supposed to be facing this way. And then this is C, which is this way. I put this together like so, and yes, she's got little... Wait, this is so cool that she has little scissors. This scissor blade goes crazy, actually. Scissor blade goes crazy. And now it is time for her scythe. Her cool scythe. Oh man, the weapons in this set are so cool. I have giant scissors, tail sword, and scythe. This weapon set goes insane. This weapon set goes insane. Oh my god. Like, I'm genuinely torn because all of these weapons are so cool. Because I know I'm probably still going to go with Scythe at the end of the day. I probably will still choose Scythe. But tail sword and big scissors are really making a run for its money because of them. So cool. I feel like there's supposed to be something that I'm not doing. Oh my god, look at her scythe. She's got like a cool scythe now. Wait, I want to pose her with the scythe. I'm gonna take off her little Trident, and we're gonna give her the Scythe. Scythe looks so cool. The Scythe looks really cool. Get it in there. Okay, yeah, her Scythe looks really cool. Her Scythe does look really cool. I feel like the Scythe just like suits her really well. The Scythe just feels like it belongs. The Scythe, I will probably still give her the chunky tail because I think it's cool, and I want to give her the option of having. I took off her head because I know I'm gonna do stuff with her face later. Kill a Kill intensifies. That's exactly what I was thinking. Scissor blade. Listen, look at her and her little scythe, and then when I put on the tail sword. Wait, sword tail. It goes crazy. This goes crazy. This combo is insane, actually. There we go. Combo goes crazy, actually, with the cool like tail sword, the chunky tail, and the scythe. Okay, wait, I took off this tail for now so I can, like, the scythe just matches so much better. I do want to keep the bat wings though. I'm keeping the bat wings because they're super cute, but this does go crazy. Okay, I think there's more stuff in here actually that I'm not looking at because also all of this. Oh yeah, these are all optional joint and leg parts. These are all joint and leg parts. Okay, yeah, these are just okay. So the rest of these are just like that's kind of cool actually. They just give me a bunch of multi-purpose joints if I wanted stuff. I just have a ton of like random joints that I can use for various things. Yeah, if I want to convert them to use with 30-minute missions parts. That's really cool. I like that they do that. That's funky. But anyway, she's really cool. I like her a lot. I will probably shim these little arm joints so they stop falling out. And I will give her chunky tail, but we're keeping the scythe. And I'm gonna do her makeup a little bit. We're just gonna give her a little bit of a makeover, actually. I love bald. Bald. Reminds me of I sort of got her little. Which option parts are these called again? This is option part set. It's set 10. Reaper armor? Yeah, that makes sense. This is Reaper armor set. This is Reaper armor. Yeah, this sure does look like Reaper armor because this is really cool. That checks out that this is Reaper armor. Yeah, but yeah, it's called option part set 10 Reaper armor. It's really cool. Like, all the weapons in here are bangers. I honestly, like, want to give... I feel bad, like, wasting the scissor blade. I need to give someone the scissor blade. I need to give someone the scissor blade, because it looks so cool. The scissor blade is so fun. I think the scissor blade goes so hard. Yeah. I guess it's like, okay. I want to, okay, let's see. I'd have to get up and go look at my makeup stuff. Because I didn't exactly decide to do this right here, right now. But, yeah, because I might do, yeah, I feel like doing her little makeup might be a separate, unfortunately. This stream is, I've only got like 15 minutes left before I'll be peacing out. And I don't, because I
I already know that I want to give her like eyeshadow. I already know that I want to give her eyeshadow. And also I feel like I can't zoom in further than this. I feel like you wouldn't be able to see it that well if I do makeup stuff now. I'd have to go get a paper towel and my makeup brushes and stuff. That might be, unfortunately, an off-stream thing, but I will be posting the results. But I do like. She looks crazy with her like face detached like this. This looks insane. The reason her baldness, her bangless version reminds me of. So I started a new D&D campaign with some friends. I'm a player this time. I'm playing in a new D&D campaign that one of my friends invited me to because, okay, I have a friend. He's a very good DM. He's probably my favorite DM that I've worked with. It sounds kind of odd to say worked with, but that I've ever played with. Because he's a really good DM, and this group, we all just mesh really well. And so, for the most part, I prefer DMing. But if he's inviting me to be a player to play in a campaign of his, I will always say yes. No questions asked. I'm in there because I have always enjoyed every like one shot or campaign that I've played with him because he's just a really good DM. And I'm like, okay. So he invited me to a new campaign. And some people are from the old group that we've played with, and some of them are new people, which I think is fun and funky. And so, yeah. And so we started a new campaign, and one of the other player characters is basically a monk, but not the class monk. They are a cleric, but they are functionally, they look like what we picture as a Christian monk. So technically, fun fact, I've learned recently that hairstyle is called a tonsure, where the top of your head is bald. the monk, the monk cut, where the top of your head is bald. So he's got one of those, and it looks really funny. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my god. She looks like she's got the monk haircut with the like bald top of the head. Which I've learned is called a tonsure. Which I might be mispronouncing. Very possible, but phonetically it's spelled like tonsure. I'm most definitely mispronouncing it. Because I don't think I've ever heard anyone speak it. I've only ever read tonsure. It's fun and funky. Every day I think about, there's like I remember seeing a post, some like Instagram repost of like some hairdresser in Indiana that's like, thank you to at whatever for letting me achieve my dream of giving someone a rainbow tonsure. So they have the tonsure haircut, but it's dyed like rainbow. And it looks insane. And I'm like, Godspeed to whoever in Indiana is walking around with that haircut. But yeah, now I think about when I see the little bald top of the head, I think about one of the other player characters who's a monk who's insane, but not really, but also 100% yes. I love them. It's very fun. They're one of the new players that I've never met before. And it's really fun. I also really like my character that I'm playing. I'm gonna spoil. We also play, the way we like to play is very narrative based, and also like there's spoilers for my character story. So if you're one of my friends that I'm playing in this campaign with, mute the stream. Don't listen. Maybe click away, because I will be spoiling my character. That's part of how we like to play, of just like having things about our characters that we each other like don't know, because we're all strangers. In the game, we're all strangers to each other. And I think that's a fun way to play if we all like slowly learn about each other's characters by interacting and doing things. I like that kind of character narrative instead of just jumping in and you launch in and you're like, this is, hi, my name is adventurer McAdventurer, and my tragic backstory is that when I was 7 years old, my parents died, and then I had to fight monsters. And that's my character. I don't like that kind of like character introduction. I like the player. Also, as a player, you decide at the beginning how much does everyone else know about you. So you jump in, and so my character is an elf druid. Her name is quote unquote Malruthi Sama. Because the plot twist is that she's not actually Malruthi Sama. She is an entirely different person because she stole someone's identity because she's on the run from Fantasy Interpol for manslaughter and necromancy. Which is also kind of fun because, so our campaign started with all of us in jail. All of us are in jail. We don't know each other and for what. We kind of all just broke out of jail together, basically. So it's like, okay, I guess we're friends now. Well, not friends, but like, I guess we're together now. And also we have to fight a bunch of monsters immediately. So it's like, okay, I guess we're here. And we don't know what the others did to get them in jail. Some of us have discussed it. Like, the guard was like, I'm like, I didn't do anything wrong. Because my character, I love her. The best way to describe her is picture a rich Ivy League kid that's never had to face a consequence in their life. That's my character. Except now she's on the run for manslaughter and necromancy. Because she did do those things. But she's like, I didn't actually it's not that bad. And so she's like, well, listen. She's from elf nobility, like basically the only remaining elf nobility. And so she's like, I'm better than everyone. She just thinks inherently she's better than everyone. And she kind of has that complex of like, elves are functionally immortal. Because elves are functionally immortal compared to humans. She's like, why would I care? She's like, listen, why does it matter to me? All she cares about is, her main thing is that, wasn't rich Ivy League character who's never had to face a consequence in her life one of your characters from those short stories you've written? A little bit. Kind of. I do plagiarize myself sometimes. I do have like recurring themes. I do reuse themes and characters. That is somewhat close. There's another character I've written. This isn't for a TTRPG. Well, technically she did start as a TTRPG character, but that's a whole other story. I played like 2 sessions of her in Blades in the Dark, and then I had a falling out with the DM. And he kicked me out of the group. But it wasn't my fault. He was being weird. I don't remember. I think I probably told that story of the time when I was playing Blades in the Dark. I got to play exactly 2 sessions of Blades in the Dark because the DM was into me romantically, but it was not reciprocated. And his response was to kick me out of the group. And so I'm like, okay, I guess. But anyway, she started as technically a TTRPG character, but she very much is not one anymore. That she's a character that I've kind of just ended up writing short stories for. I've kind of just ended up writing short stories of, and she is a little bit like that in the sense that she's sheltered and never really had to face too many consequences, but her personality is still very different than Malruthi. Malruthi is very much like, I'm better than you. She's a lot more of the, I'm better than you. Consequences should not apply to me. With this other character that I wrote, it's more like, she's never really had to deal with consequences, but it's not that she doesn't, it's more like out of naivety. She learns what consequences are, and she's like, oh my god, consequences, oh no. But Malworthy is like, what do you mean I have to care about consequences? Like, what do you mean I have to care about consequences? So she's a lot more of like the rich Ivy League character who's never had to face a consequence in her life. That other character is more like, it's a little bit different. Listen, I'm trying to justify my own self-plagiarism. But I do truly think that they're very different characters. Because their personalities are quite different and their circumstances are pretty different. They have the common shared theme of like being naive to the whole concept of like your actions have consequences, or like really truly understanding what consequences are, or like more like the gravity of things, of like the gravity of like consequences. They're both naive to that, but the way they react and the way they perceive it is very different. But it's really funny. And what so my character basically, she commits necromancy and manslaughter, and then she basically gets exiled and is chased out. She's kicked out. Her family kicks her out because they're like, what the heck? You've just committed a crime. It's not even that they care that she committed a crime. They care that she did it out in the open, that she got caught. More like, they care that she got caught. And she's like, okay, well, all I have to do is restore my house's nobility. Because they are still nobles, but it's more like they're just nobles in name. They're not actually particularly rich and powerful. They mostly just depend on their name and their status. And that's really what she cares about. But she does still need wealth and power to basically restore herself to where she believes, like what she believes she's entitled to. The power she believes she's entitled to. She's like kind of insufferable. I love her. And so she's like, well, as long as I restore my family's wealth and power, it's gonna be fine. I can go back. We'll be fine and dandy, and everything will be okay. But yeah, she stole someone's identity. She dyed her hair. She stole someone's identity, and now she's like pretending to be like a wild elf, basically. She's pretending to be like a wild elf. But so one of the other player characters completely by accident made the arch nemesis of my character. So she is like she's like blue blood. She's from the big city. She's from the one of the premier noble houses of the big city, but then she committed a big crime and got cast out and is now on the run. And so this other player character is like, I'm gonna be a cop from the big city. Except he's like actually, instead of just being like kind of an incompetent officer of the law, he's actually good at his job and he cares a lot about justice and what's right. He's very he's very righteous. And so he's like, and he's from the same city as my character, and he's like, yeah, actually, I think I'd want to understand the political structures and nobility. So every session is just like, am I going to survive this? Because something extra funny happened in the first session. So obviously we all started in jail. And even though he's also in jail with us, he's like treating us like we're criminals. And he's like, you guys are all criminals. What the heck? Like, I could never trust you guys. You're all filthy criminals. Even though my character's like, all I did was trespass, which I don't even believe is a real crime. Anyway. So this other player character is like, I don't trust you all. You're all filthy criminals. And at one point, my character heals him and saves his life. Because it's not even because she wanted to. Someone else was like, can you please heal this guy so we can fight? Because he's like our main martial fighter. And he got down. And so someone else is like, okay, can you please heal him? And I'm like, okay, fine. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you're right. We need to fight this thing, and he's the one that can do it. So I'll heal him. And and so he's like, okay, fine. Because you saved my life, you are the only one I trust so far. And my character's just sitting there, like, because he introduced himself. he's like, I'm an officer of the law from the city, from this city. And she's like, oh no, that's the city. They're the ones that know I'm guilty of are tracking me down for manslaughter. Oh no. But he hasn't caught on yet, because part of what she's relying on is a little bit of elf racism, because elves are pretty rare. There's not, at least in terms of like what humans encounter on the day-to-day, people, like 99% of humans do not 99, but like vast majority of humans don't really regularly encounter elves. And so she's relying on the fact that a lot of people don't really know how to distinguish elves that well. And she changed her hair color, but she's like a little bit stupid. She didn't change anything else about her appearance. She just grew out her hair and dyed it to match the person whose identity she stole. But she still kind of looks nothing like them. But she's relying on the fact that even if someone does like recognize her as like, hey, wait a second, aren't you that person? Because she's from a very prominent family. She's like, aren't you that person who like commit manslaughter, who like killed people and also commit necromancy? She's like, what you think all elves look the same? What the heck? It's is very much relying on the fact that people are not very good at distinguishing elven features and like what elves look like. And so her hair color is different and she styles herself differently. And she's like, that's good enough, right? But now introducing this guy who's from the one city where elves are common, where it's normal to see elves because that's like the big city and it's like normal to see elves there. And so he probably knows what elves look like and how to distinguish them, and also knows this particular noble house because they're one very prominent, and he specifically was like, I want to understand nobility and politics because he's very righteous, and I guess it has to do with his own story that I don't know yet. And I'm like, I'm screwed. It's over for me, but luckily I have been bluffing like crazy and he has not caught on yet. My character, it's also kind of fun. I have to be very careful in the sense that like my bluff, I did buff like my bluffing skills a lot. I did buff my ability. By the way, this is D&D 3.5, so bluff is like a skill. And so, but I have to be, my DM is being kind to me, but also like, I have to speak in a way that I'm not lying. Because if I lie directly, now that's a check. Or if I say anything suspicious that reminds the cop of like, hey, wait a second. And if he ever decides to be like, do I look familiar to him? And tries to like go in that direction, I have to be super careful and not tip off his suspicion. Because if he's suspicious of me, it'll be probably pretty easy for him to determine who I am. But also if I lie, that means I have to do a check for it. And that is increasing the probability that he'll be suspicious of me. And so I have to be very careful about how I talk and how I present myself so that he doesn't get suspicious. It's very fun. And by the way, this player has no idea that this is happening. This player has no idea. They are simply playing the game. And they're like, this is an elf that I met in jail. Yeah. Anyway, that's my D&D character. I'm sorry Miss Neverlia is in pieces, but we at least put together all of her accessories, so I'm basically, all that really I'm going to do is just like, basically do her makeup and then pose her, and that's it. Because we've done all of her weapons and accessories, which I'm very happy about. And I'll post pictures of it later. I'm very excited. Thank you for joining me on Neverlia on this journey to make Neverlia, even though she was only meant to be like like a 1 to 2 week project. She's become much longer. She's become like a month-long project, which I think is fun. But we are officially done with her. Miss Neverlia is completed. We've done all of her accessories, and all I gotta do is do her makeup and pose her. And so next week, I shall be back with MG God Gundam, which I'm very excited to build. I love God Gundam, and I'm very excited. I've been wanting to build this kit I bought this kit at Anime NYC last year. So I've had it for like a minute. And so yeah. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And I shall see you all next week. Bye-bye!